Coco Village. I'm getting flexed on currently. I'm getting flexed on. He knew I was about to go live, and now I'm getting flexed on. I'm getting poked. Let's give the dog a treat, and then I will greet you all. But we all know what has to happen first. We all know there's a very specific order of operations. Oh, he's making the saddest sounds. It's like he's not just literally been fed like a couple hours ago. Let's give the dog a treat. That's the button. All right. You want a treat? Praise! Praise! He sits very pretty. He sits very pretty. And that's what's important. He sit pretty so he get treat. And this is just life. Sit pretty, get treat. He's like, okay, petting is fine. I want more treats though, please. All right. We'll wait for him to get into his bed. We'll get the dog cam set back up. I'm gonna get some hand sani real quick. I love this dog, but when I do scratch all over him, he gets a little bit of grossness on me. He needs a bath. I just gave you a bath. Why do you constantly need a bath? He's not even like he's not the kind of dog that like rolls around and stuff, but he is the kind of dog that is a dog still. So, you know. Anyway, how's it going, everybody? Weedy Potter resubbed at 22 months. Cata Supernova at a 55 stream streak, which is wild. God damn. Also, I have, let's see. Is this going to work or is it going to break? I'm about to show a new feature that I just added to my stream overlay, or well, added back to my stream overlay, and we'll see if it works. We'll see if it fails, and bonk. Hey, it kind of worked. It kind of sort of worked, I right before going live, I was like, I really miss the ability to highlight chats on my stream. So I did the minimum viable implementation of that. And hey, you know what? You can see the chat. It's on the stream. That counts. How long until we find out that Endeavorance uses a shot caller too? It's a great question. I don't have lightning abilities. I'm more of an ice mage personally, which is really unfortunate because I'm cold all the time. And I would really prefer to not just be cold all the time. That being the first one to work is great. Look, I've been busy. I've been very, very busy trying to throw myself into various projects to not go insane. Dev is a solid water boy. I'm a solid water boy. I'm a liquid water boy. I just make solid water is the thing with my magic. Ice mage is win. I can't stand. Hold on. I can't stand how ugly the overlay looks. Let's fix that. Where did my oh god. Oh no. All right. Open up the code editor. Ye old editor. Let's see. Focus is gross. I can at least make the username bigger. How's that? Let's see. Little better. Why is it oh, I have an idea. What's 781 What? That ain't right. Oh, I'm dumb. 1444. Did that work? I'm dumb. 1404. That's the number I wanted. Trying to remember the width of my viewport. Nope. That ain't right. That still ain't right. Let's do was it 13? We're gonna do 1380 pixels, and we're gonna see. Nope. We're just gonna vibe it into place. 1350 pixels. We're gonna call that good. We're gonna call it good. We are going to increase the font size of the text, though. We're gonna make that 48 pixels. And boop. There we go. Cool. Oh, Flynn's stucking himself in. He's got to get as close to the corner as he possibly can. He's like, this is perfect. I'm gonna curl up on one half of the bed, and we don't need the rest of it. He's very thrifty when it comes to bed space sometimes. How old is Flynn? Says Otter Judge. Flynn is probably between 8 and 10. I think. I got him I was told, okay. I got him in 2018. I was told he was 2. I don't think that was true, because when I took him to the vet was like, nah, he's still got puppy teeth. He's closer to 1. So he was an unknown age between 0 and 2 when I got him in 2018. So that would make him somewhere between like 8 and 10, I think. 7 and 9, 8, somewhere. Math, etc. But yeah, he's not a particularly old boy. He's still got a lot of energy in him. He's always had a white face, but he's definitely getting more gray as time goes on. So he's just a baby. That's actually accurate. Yeah, no, I took him to the vet recently, and they were like, oh, who's a baby? And I'm like, yeah, he's a baby. He's a sweet little baby. I mean, look at him. He's a literal baby. He doesn't even know his ABCs. He's just a little baby. A wee child. Hold on. It's so good. God, I love dog. I love dogs so much. There's gonna be a lot of dog feature on this stream because it's pretty fucking brutal outside. Like, it's really, really brutal outside. And I need dog. I'm sure you do too. I was saying to Flynn last night, I was like, Flynn, we gotta come up with a game plan here, because like, it's brutal out there and the world needs more dog. So we're gonna find a way to stream dog directly into people's homes. You know, it's like farm to table. Only instead of a farm, it's a dog, and instead of a table, it's your phone. So, oh, we're messing with it again. Oh, God damn it. Sorry. My entire web browser just crashed. Why would that happen? And now I'm logging back into things because fun. And Flynn's still messing. Apparently it wasn't good enough. Just using that one half of the bed was not good enough for the dog. Watching him decide whether or not to face the camera. Yeah, like, does he want to acknowledge us or not? Life isn't about why, Dev. It's about why not. I agree. The world is trash fire. Dog's good. Oh, there we go. We got a good spot there. That's very, very, very good. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Okay, dog is settled. I'm gonna get settled too. Let's ride the roller coaster. Please keep your hands, feet, ears, eyes, head, shoulders, knees, and toes inside the vehicle at all times. We ride the roller coaster. Then we got a lot to talk about, and then we're gonna pet the dog. Whenever I get angry, whenever I get too angry today, I'm gonna go pet the dog. That's what's gonna happen. Organic grass-fed dog video? Indeed. Stream dog into my brain, please and thanks, says Gorgeous420. That's what I'm trying to do. If I had Neuralink or whatever, if I was Elon Musk, instead of trying to like build a like a chip that you can implant in your brain so that they can like beam ads into your brain or something, I would do a chip that implants into your brain to beam dog into your brain. You would literally have that dog in you. Quite literally. Thank you for your service. I do what I can. Where did the music go? 24-hour Flynn stream when? I can't commit to 24 hours of breathing, let alone keeping a stream going. Let alone keeping the dog in one place. My goodness. I always think about that. I always think about like, oh man, I should do like a streamathon sometime. And I'm like, God, I would lose it. I would lose my mind if I couldn't like move. If I couldn't go do stuff, I would actually go crazy. I'm not the kind of person that can stay in one spot for hours and hours and hours. Unless I'm like deeply, fully invested in like a video game that I want to do nothing but play this game, and I want to be completely lost and left alone, to be like left to my own devices and forget reality. Unless it's like that specifically, I just cannot. I can't. $24-hour any percent Flynn stream when? Speedrun the any percent belly rubs. You'll end up renting out of college for streamer university? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I too have ADHD. Yeah, it's basically just that, right? Like it's the this is how I describe it, which is very painful to hear, so I'm sorry. But if you don't have ADHD and you want to know what it's like to have ADHD and have to basically like sit still or do something that you don't feel like you're able to do right now, essentially the like sensation that like causes ADHD people to like go fucking crazy, the closest I can describe it is, imagine if your brain was covered in mosquito bites. You can't itch it, but imagine your brain is covered in mosquito bites. That's how it feels, right? If I'm the worst, like my personal hell, right, is if I'm at a restaurant that is like a typical weighted, like, you know, wait staff restaurant, and I have finished eating and I want to leave, but I am beholden to the system and have to get the attention of a waiter to have them bring me a check, and then they bring me the check and they leave it, and if they don't immediately take it, like, I will have my credit card ready. Like, I want them to come and give me the check and take my credit card, but no, they're gonna come leave the check and leave. And now I have to get their attention again to come get the check, and then they're gonna go, and I have to sit there and wait for an indeterminate amount of time until they finally process my stuff and bring it back. And it's like, I want to leave. Why am I here still? Let me give you money and go. That is what happens in my brain. Is it feels like there are mosquitoes all up inside my head, biting at my brain, and I want to throw myself out a window. How do we get dice rolls? There are 2 ways. So if you're on Twitch, you can redeem them as like a channel point redeemable. Anywhere else, everybody gets 1 free dice roll per stream. If you type !roll into chat, you can redeem your free roll. There will eventually be other ways to add or to do rolls. If you subscribe or gift subscription, it also does rolls. So if you like subscribe, it does 1 dice per month that you've been subscribed, and if you gift subscription, it's 1 die per gift. So that's all the ways currently to do dice rolls. It's like restless leg syndrome for your brain. Yeah, it's like restless brain syndrome, and it's part of the reason why I'm like so bad with insomnia. Is like my brain just doesn't shut the fuck up and never stops moving. And so, like, essentially, to fall asleep, I just have to blitz myself out of existence with weed, so I can actually get to bed by having my brain stop. But it's not. I'm not trying to say like I'm so smart and my brain is constantly doing complex calculations. It's not like I'm sitting there solving the secrets of the universe and like memorizing 800 digits of pi. I'm sitting there and my brain is just going like. Like it's just that for hours every night, and like I can't stop it. I've tried like meditation. I've tried everything. The worst part is when you leave a room and your brain immediately switches tasks and you forget what you originally got up to do. Yeah. Oh, hey, look, it overflows. Very good. I plot the downfall to my enemies. Recently, I've just been engaging with my hyperfixation. Like I've been hyperfixating on a project, and I've been just like, you know what? I'm awake. I might as well just like sit here and think about this project I'm enjoying until I fall back asleep. So like, I mean, that's been good. I've kind of like went a little too hard on said project, but you know, it is what it is. I hate God, I need to fix this. Oh my God, I hate it so much. It's so bad. Anyway, that's what happens when you build a feature in 10 minutes before going live. I hate the feeling of just being bored as fuck and not being able to do anything while having the score of Hamilton and Les Mis and Yes, the Muppets going in my head all at once. Yeah, I recently played Expedition 33. Well, I'm still playing Expedition 33 a ton. That game's music is incredible. And like every single song is stuck in my head simultaneously. Am I having trouble? I'm seeing discussion in Twitch with people having intermittent issues. That might be a Twitch thing. I see no indication of I see no indication of stream problems on my end. I don't know what to say. Fun Predictable says, my ending better be French as fuck, Dev, I swear. What ending? Like the game ending? Are you like talking about like ending the end of the game? Mine has been stuttering as well, probably a Twitch thing. Good to know. Yeah, I don't know. I see Twitch says that my bitrate is good. It gives me a big thumbs up. My OBS says good. YouTube says good. I don't know what to say. I write whole ass sci-fi fantasy stories. It entertains me and tends to get me to fall asleep faster. Also, stop playing video games at least an hour before you go to bed. So I went through years around. Okay, backing up. I around 2017 was hit with a really bad wave of insomnia. It basically switched from like I casually am not great at sleeping to I haven't slept for a week. After that, I went to the doctor. I've told the story a few times before, but I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, oh, you've been awake for a week? Before you die, let's get you asleep. So they shoved Ambien into me, and that was wild, but it did make me sleep. I wouldn't recommend Ambien. I've been on a bit of a journey since then to figure out how to not want to die from not being able to sleep. And I've kind of finally gotten to a place where I've like figured out a routine that works, but the amount of it, of like contradictory advice that I received from like various professionals, ultimately the conclusion that I came to, as I spent years trying to figure out how to consistently sleep, and I tried every suggestion under the sun, the conclusion that I came to was that no one has any idea how to actually help other people get quality sleep, because it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. The whole thing that's like, don't look at your phone X minutes or X hours before bed because red light or whatever, it's basically bullshit, right? The whole thing where it's like, don't read because that's too stimulating. Listen to an audiobook. No, don't listen to an audiobook. Read because it makes your eyes tired. Don't listen to a podcast because it's too engaging. You need to have pure silence before you go to bed. Like, I've had every variation of that. And you know what helps? My brain changes over the months as to like what is good for helping me sleep, and I need to stay on top of that. Like, I need to figure it out and stay on top of that. And now my YouTube stream is breaking. Anyway, yeah, it's just like it's all very, very personal. And it all very, very much depends on like the time of year, the quality of sleep the night before, what you ate that day. When you last ate is a huge impact on your sleep quality and stuff like that. It's a lot. Long story short, as I've said before, and no one's done this yet so far, so like I really appreciate it. Don't ever, if someone tells you that they suffer from like chronic insomnia, and especially if they said that it's been like going on for a very long time, don't tell them to take melatonin. Don't do that. That is the functional equivalent of someone coming to you and saying, I have depression, and you tell them, have you tried smiling more? Like, that's not a solution. That's not a solution. In the best of cases, someone who doesn't have like chronic insomnia may experience slight differences in their sleep pattern from consistently taking melatonin supplements. Melatonin supplements don't make you go to sleep. if you have a condition that makes you not able to sleep, melatonin supplements are not going to do anything. So like, it's the thing that everyone recommends, and it's like, I deeply appreciate the intent. You're trying to suggest something that can help. You're trying to empathize. Maybe you take melatonin and it helps for you. Great. Maybe you experienced some insomnia and you took melatonin and it went away. Great. If someone tells you they have a chronic issue, don't suggest a store-bought supplement that they've almost definitely already tried. Like, yeah, I've tried that. Thank you. The like $10 bottle of supplements that anyone can get at the store. If that solved chronic insomnia, there wouldn't be chronic insomnia. It's a lot of work to get out of insomnia, regardless of how they got there. It's hard. It's hard because it also builds on itself. Like, I have if you have ADHD, and especially if you have anxiety, which also tends to come with ADHD, and then I have the classic ADHD premiums fucking season pass, which is ADHD, depression, and anxiety, just sort of like all taking turns fueling into each other. And like, that doesn't make me special. That is what most people with ADHD have, some combination of those three. But like, I can't just get to sleep because I'm anxious about sleep, and I'm anxious about getting to sleep. And then the anxiety about being anxious to fall asleep makes the anxiety to sleep worse. And then it's a self-fulfilling cycle. So like it takes a lot of effort to sort of break that down, figure out like where you can wedge in some sort of tactic to stop that cycle and break out of it. Like it's a full-on mental war that you're fighting with your brain every night, basically. The trifecta of ADHD doom. Yeah, no, it's a lot. I who would have thought that like the inability to focus, the not seeing a point in continuing to live, and the constant like slight noises causing me to have a near panic attack. Who would have thought that I had multiple conditions? I think systemic solutions have to be pursued because magic bullets almost never work. Yeah, like there were a few things that really helped throughout my insomnia journey. I would say, oh fuck, what's it called? Valerian root tea. That was one thing that actually did make a difference for a little bit. It was more helpful than melatonin, partially because like tea is at least a ritual, right? Like it's more than just take a pill, fix the problem. When I was trying out valerian root tea, which is, for those who have never tried valerian root, is stinky tea. It stink like fart. It stink bad. It smell real bad. It smell bad. Tastes fine. Smell bad. The like, you know, whatever something chemicals, compounds, I don't know, chains of molecules, whatever's in valerian root, I guess like helps with being EP. It's got the EP chemical in it. So the idea is you drink that stank tea and it makes you sleepy. And like that helped for a bit. Like it maybe calmed my nerves. Maybe it was the like making myself stop and slow down and drink this tea. And like that may help me like focus on a ritual to fall asleep or something. Maybe that's what fixed it or helped. I didn't stick with it for a very long time, but it did help more than melatonin, I'll say that. Valerian didn't work a lot for me, but I'm glad you got a little bit of respite from it. Yeah, I hope that it was actually chemically helping in some way. It could have just been placebo, but I eventually stopped taking it. You can get it in pills. Valerian root, you can get like valerian root pills and just take the pills. But it's probably more effective as tea. You just need discipline as the bane of my existence. People who love to insist that disorders can be fixed with pure willpower. Willpower is so strange. Willpower is such a strange concept. Definitely no, not every condition can be fixed with willpower. Definitely yes, if you manage to figure out how to muster up the will, you can consistently make progress towards changing your situation in such a way that your life is like your issues are slightly alleviated, right? If you're a person who suffers from like chronic I don't know, chronic fatigue or something, and you manage to work through that and work out, like, you know, barring a thing that's like, if you work out, you'll destroy yourself. But like, if you manage to like consistently work out, consistently condition your body, you'll eventually have more energy. It won't get rid of the chronic fatigue, and you'll have to put in significantly more work than somebody else who doesn't suffer from the same condition. But you can make progress on that, right? It doesn't fix it, but it might make enough progress to the point that it is no longer a thing that is so significantly impacting your life that it is defining you. Obviously, that doesn't work for everybody. I've previously had spurts of incredible bursts of willpower where I just, for whatever reason, was able to just stick with something. I lost 75 pounds in a year, like a few years ago. It wasn't a particularly healthy year for your boy, but I did that, and I did it primarily through like significantly changing my relationship with food and consistently doing like pretty high intensity workouts multiple times a week from like having done nothing. And I kept that going for a calendar year and then completely fucking stopped. So like willpower is not a long-term solution. It can be powerful, but it doesn't fix things. Let's see. It's like telling somebody to lose weight. It's like telling someone who's trying to lose weight to, quote, just exercise every day. Like, sure, that technically works, but it takes so much effort and discipline. Yeah, it technically works, but also, like, it's not a thing that just solves a problem, right? Like, like if you can't muster the focus, the will, the dedication, that's not really a fault, right? Like humans aren't supposed to just constantly take on huge challenges. They're supposed to, it's a sprint, right? Not a marathon, not a sprint, right? Like they're supposed to sustain. So like just trying to sustain and then being told that you have to go above and beyond constantly, that's rough and abnormal. Milk with honey is delicious. See, now I agree with that, although I haven't actually tried it. I should try that sometime. The stress of being underemployed and the weight of being a single mom is hard. Like exercising is not something I can just make myself do. It's not gonna be a thing that, it's not gonna be a thing, like you'll never be able to have meaningful, consistent progress towards any goal if you're doing it against your will. You have to find a way to make it a thing that vibes with your brain. So like, if your goal is lose weight and you're not the kind of person that can like just stick to working out, like, first of all, make sure that your goal is lose weight, or what I'm using this as an example. Make sure that your goal is lose weight for the right reason, right? Like your goal shouldn't be, I want to be a certain target weight. Your goal should be, I want to feel healthy in my body, right? Like I want to feel, like for me, the reason that I was losing weight was when I get out of the couch, I feel like I'm out of breath and I don't like that. I want to feel like I can use my body and go places and do things and enjoy physically being present within my own fleshy container. And that was why I wanted to lose weight / get in shape, right? Like I wanted to get myself to a place where I felt good existing. Like I wanted my neutral state to not be one of sluggishness. That helped because I had a realistic thing that was like, I know that on the other end of where I'm trying to get to, the result will be that I am feeling better. It also meant that I wasn't trying to get to a specific number. I was just trying to trend towards a feeling and also generally down. Like I knew I needed to lose some weight and I wanted to go generally down. But it's so much better if you're able to get yourself excited about the prospect of a thing to work towards rather than like giving yourself like a syllabus, like requirements, you know? Because the second you miss that first requirement, you're wrecked. I saw Gina popped in here. Oh, hey, it's Gina. Hello. How's it going? 110% by definition cannot be the norm. Ask Chernobyl how that went. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people who are, especially people who are neurodivergent, do the whole, like, we grew up being told, always do your best. And we took that literally. And that's why like all these gifted neurodivergent students become burnt out as fuck as adults, because we've spent our entire life thinking that if you're not literally exerting 100% of your energy, then you are doing bad. And that's not what that saying means. And most of us don't realize that until full ass adulthood. Doesn't sound like me at all. Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely. Totally not you, Gina. The body is a temple, and mine is desecrated and haunted. Look, I've played enough Zelda to know that temples come in many shapes and sizes. My body is a temple, but thank God my body is not the water temple. I can hydrate. Thank you. I realized last year that a lot of my breakdowns were because of overstimulation. So this is a really great jumping off point for a thing that I think about all the time. People with ADHD, and this is apparently an ADHD stream now, which is nowhere near anything that I wrote down in my stream notes. We'll get to stuff, I promise, but people with ADHD frequently have like what's generally referred to as an ADHD meltdown. And like some people might see this as like a tantrum. Some people might see this as an outburst. When I was growing up, when I was a kid and I was very much undiagnosed, in school, I would get overwhelmed and break down crying. I would get overwhelmed by something very, very simple, right? Like nothing is happening. I'm not in danger. I'm not failing, but I'm overwhelmed and I'm freaking out because of the situation. And I would break down. And it got to the point that like my teachers would be like, "Oh, he had another breakdown today," to my parents, which is shitty. But ADHD meltdowns. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Jesus Christ. People who have ADHD have a significantly reduced amount of like working memory and space to hold multiple emotions and keep track of everything at once. We are essentially working with less RAM than the average neurotypical person. Because of this, when you're constantly getting overstimulated and you're constantly having a bunch of stuff come in and take your attention away from things or shift your attention between stuff, you are essentially having to take what little brain space you have and constantly cycle through it to a whole bunch of different places. And that's very uncomfortable, which is if you've got ADHD and you've ever just been like frozen in response to something, that's probably why. But the thing that's really, really helped me sort of like visualize this is this concept of the ADHD volcano. Let me see if I can actually pull up an image here. But it helps understand like how ADHD meltdowns happen. Here we go. So it's hard to kind of see here. Can I just open this image separately? Yeah, okay. So the idea is, think of, this is me. This is a photograph. This is a childhood photograph of me. Actually, this is a recent photograph of me. Hello, my name is Krakatoa. So I am a volcano, much like most people from, or who have ADHD. And yeah, former Future Frog, I've talked about this before, but for everyone who's new, the idea of the volcano is that like people who have ADHD are sort of like a volcano in that there is something going on underneath the surface that you can't quite see. If you're an observer of the volcano, you just think you just see a mountain until at some point it erupts, and it might be shocking that it erupts. But if you look down underneath the volcano, you'll see what's going on. So here we've got like the lava is your ability to manage your executive function, and underneath what people see, you are spending energy. You're spending your limited energy trying to manage your emotions, manage your inhibition, manage your attention, manage your working memory, which you're already at a loss with. And then above that are the things that are causing additional stressors that are adding in more pressure and making that lava ready to erupt. So you've got your learned stuff like your identity, schemas, adaptive strategies, inherent stuff, your ability, your things that are changing, your energy levels, the environments around you, people, place, and situation. That's where your like overstimulation is going to happen. And all of these things kind of like come together to just cause you to eventually. It doesn't make sense. Like when an ADHD person has a meltdown and starts freaking out, it's different for everybody, but for me, it's like first I get really, really upset, and then I get really confused as to why I'm even upset, because it's like this situation does not merit this kind of a response. Why am I doing that? And then that causes me to be like critical of myself and sort of spiral. That is a very common thing. Like it's like shame, right? Like it's shame that I'm having this thing. that this is happening to me, that I can't get my heart rate under control, that I can't stay focused, that I can't just do the thing this like very basic thing. It could happen at any time. I could be asked a very simple question, but it's like I'm already on edge, and this question was just one too many things, and I just it's real, and it's hard because like you never feel good about it, and it's not like it's not a thing you can just turn off. Even if you try your best to like focus on tackling these things to reduce the number of times that you're like having a meltdown or whatever, you can make progress, you can reduce the frequency, but you can't really get rid of it entirely. It's just a fact of our brains. So yep, I think about that a lot, like a lot. I haven't been diagnosed, but I believe I have both ADHD and ASD. I mean, like, I wasn't diagnosed for a long time, and I actually didn't think that I had it. I kind of was like fully in the under the impression that like I must be neurotypical, and that the things that I was experiencing must just be me not being good enough. That wasn't great. Learning the truth of what you do have, or like, you know, actually getting evaluated does help. I wouldn't say that it like fixed everything, but it did help to contextualize stuff and also get me medication. Some places don't allow you to breathe. Yeah. I just, if I go into a place that's going to like be very overstimulating for me, which is basically just the grocery store, I'm going to freak out. Like, I'm going to freak out. But yeah, like it'll happen. Like if I essentially have like a thing that I'm like trying to focus on and something else gets my attention and I freeze, it's like, well, my day's over. Anyway. Getting diagnosed as an adult is so difficult, and it feels dangerous at this point with RFK's list or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't blame people for being concerned about what the US government is going to try to do with like information about people who are diagnosed with autism and RFK existing. It still, of everything, RFK still is one of the things that boggles my mind the most. I can understand why Trump is in office. It makes me sad. It makes me unhappy. I don't think he should be in office. That's my hot take, is I'm not a big fan of Donald John Trump. I don't understand how anyone ever got behind RFK for anything, especially health. That part blows my mind. You're the number one expert on your own life and your experience, and that is the most valid. At the end of the day, yeah. And I mean, Gina is literal professional in this, but like I also when I got my diagnosis, or before I got my diagnosis, my therapist had essentially been like, it doesn't matter. Like, it does matter. Like, you probably do have it, but we're not focusing on fixing your ADHD. We're focusing on living as you, like living with your brain, working well with your brain, trying to figure out how to change things in your brain so that you feel better is a lost cause. Figuring out how to change your life and the way that you go about things to work with your brain is the actual way you go about doing things. Why is brain so bad? It's because, and this is another thing my therapist constantly drills home, is our brains are really, really, really good at doing the things that they evolved to do, which was help cavemen live. Our brains haven't evolved since then. We have dumb caveman brain. You feel social anxiety about like what you said to somebody. You're like over analyzing the interaction that you had with somebody. You know why your brain is doing that? You know, like you had like a strange conversation. You're like, oh my God, what did I, like, how did I say something so stupid? Now I'm going to agonize over this. It's because your brain is terrified of being thrown out of the cave and eaten by saber-toothed tigers. Like, straight up. The thing that your brain wants to do is have a place in society so that you can be safe. We evolved to be social creatures who have groups of people that live together in safety and help each other. And so, like, if you have a social interaction that felt weird, your brain is going to over-index on that because, oh no, I might get thrown out to the saber-toothed tigers. That's what our brains evolved to do. We evolved to identify threats and take care of them. And when we're in modern society, most of those threats are very abstract. Now, they're still there. Walking around the street at night, you're probably going to have your head on a swivel. Absolutely. But like most of the things that we are exposing our brains to on a daily basis are not actual reality that our brain is trying to interpret and act upon. It's like a screen and or images or text or whatever. And so we're just feeding our brain all of these problems and all of these things that it was not evolved to work with, and expecting it to do something that makes sense as opposed to do the thing it was designed to do by evolution, which is not get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So which is like also why people with ADHD are rad. I saw a talk. I don't remember who did it because I'm terrible. I'll have to find it. I'm gonna write this down because it was a good talk. Unless somebody knows what I'm talking about, find talk about ADHD. I'll find it later because I don't feel like finding it now. I saw a talk about how essentially ADHD, especially being around today, it means that we evolved, right? Like we essentially were able to continue propagating our genes. Like ADHD is genetic, and people with ADHD were very clearly selected for to some degree. There's a lot of us. There's dozens of us. And ADHD essentially is like putting defensive planning on 11. You know, like cranking that to 11. So like people with ADHD are going to be much more attentive to potential threats, to the situation around them, just generally more attuned to survival instinct accidentally because of the way that their attention works and the way that their brain works and the way that they like are constantly analyzing things, pattern matching things, and planning things out. And so the idea is that, you know, if that's the case, it's a survival trait, you know, and like that doesn't make it easier to work with, but it explains why we are the way we are. So I don't remember the name of that talk. If anybody else does know it and you find it, please feel free to share it. I will otherwise look for it after I stream and post it somewhere. But yeah, like the idea is just, you know, our brain is designed for solving confusing, dangerous problems that are generally a life or death scenario, not spreadsheets. And then, you know, oh my God, I gotta get this spreadsheet done in time, otherwise it's a life or death scenario. It's like the cilantro / coriander gene, but way cooler. I am mad. I'm mad. Is it cilantro? Hold on. Arugula. It's arugula, not cilantro. Arugula. It's called rocket. What the fuck? Arugula rocket. What the fuck? Hold on. Rocket, Aruca, or Arugula? You're telling me that Arugula is called Rocket? I'm mad about this. Garden Rocket. That sounds gross, like sexual. Salad Rocket and Garden Rocket. Oh no. Oh no. Anyway, yeah, no, I was very thrown when I went to go order something. I think it was back when I was in London. I went to go order a sandwich that had rocket on it, and I was like, the fuck? What are you guys doing? What are you doing over here? Y'all are crazy. But I'm also mad because coriander and one other one are the same thing, right? Coriander is also, yeah, coriander is cilantro. Yeah, coriander, whose leaves are known in the US but not in the UK as cilantro. Did you know this? Did you know this? One, coriander is cilantro, and two, not everybody calls it cilantro. I'm fucked up. I'm so fucked up by this shit. I'm supposed to go about my day and like pretend that everything is fine and pretend that I'm all right. I'm supposed to go pay my taxes later this year. I'm supposed to like contribute to society when people are out here lying about what coriander is and about what cilantro is. I need my dog. Okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. Everything's better now. I only know this because of cooking. I also cook, but I didn't know this. I did in fact know this. I'm just a big idiot is the problem. Is sometimes I just don't know the most basic shit. That's fine. I like learning things. Learning things is fun. I learned a big thing recently. What did I learn? I remember. I'm not going to say what it was because it would make me really sound really dumb. So I'm not going to say what it was. Let's instead go on to any of the topics that I've written down that I was going to talk about today. So, no follow-up. Okay. The thing that it wasn't so much that I learned something, it was that I had a thought that was a genuine realization, and after I said it out loud in my head, I realized how stupid of a thought it was. And it was too late because I already thought it was a cool thought. And I was like, oh no. So the thought was, I was like, I want an afternoon cup of coffee. You know what? I almost exclusively drink my coffee black. I'm going to add some cream and sugar to this as a little treat. And then I realized adding cream and sugar to coffee is what lattes are. Like, I just never really thought about it like that. I never really thought about, like, a latte is a coffee drink with cream and sugar. And so is coffee. Coffee is also a coffee drink with cream and sugar. That's what I'm saying. It was a... Anyway. It was a thought that popped in my head, and I was like, wow, this is revolutionary. And then I was like... What? I do very much like black coffee though. It took me a while, but getting like good coffee beans is what really helped. Let's see. Someone asked about Discord just filed its IPO to go public. So what's the next chat platform? There's a bunch of different answers to this. The answer is going to be mostly still just like whatever you're on. Like, people don't want to move chat platforms much. I will probably look into getting a Matrix chat server set up eventually for my community, but at the end of the day, like, Discord going public shouldn't be surprising, and two, if you're using Discord for reasons that Discord being public would impact, you shouldn't be using Discord that way in the first place. What does that mean, going public? It means they're IPOing. So they're currently a privately owned company. They're going to be listed. They're going to go public, be listed on the stock market, and be a publicly traded company, which means that they're going to be far more beholden to shareholders, which typically means the platform is going to get shittier. I am so tired of helicopters constantly flying over my fucking house. There's one flying over me right now. I can feel it shaking my chair. It's fucking constant. It is constant. Every fucking day, ICE is just flying helicopters everywhere. This is a good example, or a good segue into talking about that. But I would say, on the topic of Discord, they're going to be beholden to shareholders. Discord has been getting more filled with weird shit. Don't use Discord for anything that you wouldn't yell out publicly in a public space. Do not use Discord for anything that you wouldn't yell in a public space. And that goes for DMs, that goes for video chats, that goes for voice chats. Video and voice chats, little bit better. Little bit better in terms of privacy. Text chat, definitely do not. Discord is not an encrypted platform. It is not a private platform. Discord staff can go in and read anything from any server, not on a whim. It's not like Discord staff can just secretly be in your DMs, but they can, if the cops go to them and say, hey, we want the chat logs from this server or between these users, they'll just do that. So it's not so much a matter of what's the next chat platform, because we need to keep moving between these platforms. It's a matter of, you need to understand the relationship that you should have with these platforms. And no corporate social media platform merits using it as a actual private service. There does not exist a major US social media platform that is reliable to do something like organize on, or have conversations that are sensitive on. The closest you're going to get in terms of like mass distributed, relatively safe channels for discussion would be like iMessage. But like, even that, there are flaws. Signal is a decent option. It's good. Matrix is also a good option. But Matrix is a lot less consumer friendly than Signal. So in general, if you want a place to have private conversations with people, I would recommend Signal. But moreover, I would recommend having those conversations in person. But if Discord going public makes you feel like you want to get off of Discord, I would recommend that instead of seeing it that way, instead of seeing it as Discord has now come to an end, I got to get off of it, I got to move, got to do whatever. It's a matter of, okay, like, is my relationship with this product the way it should be? Like have you been, if you've been using Discord till now to have conversations about things that are sensitive, I would recommend that you stop doing that. There was never a time, even if Discord stayed private this whole time, there was never a time where it should be used that way. And that goes the same for anything that has DMs. any service that has built-in messaging, so like Instagram Messenger, Facebook Messenger or whatever, like these things will talk about having privacy features and encryption features, but a lot of the times the encryption is weak at best, or a lie. Like they'll say like it supports full end-to-end encryption, but what they don't say is that you have to like go have a premium account and then go into like settings and enable it, and it'll like auto disable after 7 days or something. And so then people are like, oh yeah, I can use this safely. And I've been told that this chat app is private and safe, but in reality, they're just sending unencrypted messages to people. Discord is by and large safe for social groups until it isn't. It depends on your definition of safe, right? Like there's two different vectors here. There's the vector of having a community that is insulated from having people come in and harass individual members of the community, right? There's the safety of having gatekeeping for having access to a shared space on the internet. And Discord gives you the option to create a shared space with a gatekeep to it, or with a gate to it, or a public space. But if you have a closed community, yeah, you can have a closed community on Discord. So there's that safety. That's great. But the other side is what can be done with the data that's actually collected by the platform. And that includes all chats and all your media and everything. And while Discord, I can say this for sure, like I worked at Discord. I used to work at Discord. I was genuinely impressed with their stance on user data. They were genuinely against selling user data for advertisements. That has probably waned over the years since then. But when I worked there a few years ago, that was the case. So that's cool. But they still have all of that data. And if the cops come to them and say, I want that data, they're going to comply, especially wanting to be a publicly traded company. So from that perspective, right, you have the safety of not being harassed by people in your online space, but you want also the safety of being able to express yourself without that turning into evidence. And right now, if you say something that is potentially damning on Discord, it is much easier for the government to pull that from Discord than from something like Signal or even iMessage. So that's what I'm getting at here. You really need to know. It's called threat modeling. Threat modeling is the notion of taking stock of every potential vector of attack to you, right? Like you exist here. Think about every account that you have, every platform that you are active and visible on, your bank accounts, your chat rooms that you're in, any presence that you have. You take stock of that. You ask yourself, which of these places do I trust, and in what ways, and to do what? And sort of like rank them by trustworthiness. And then you can use that to inform how you go about using these different services and using the internet. So like I would never go on Discord to organize a protest against the current regime. I would never do that, because that's me putting all of my communication about my intent to do civil disobedience is easily accessible to investigators if they wanted to build a case and pull that and use it against me. So like I would never do that. And that's part of threat modeling. Is I use Discord for communication, but I also have a line that I draw where I use Discord for a very certain type of communication, which is most of my communication. The vast majority of my communication is not worthy of using an encrypted messaging system. It's not necessary. When people talk about like, oh, I have nothing to hide, like that's true for me too 99.8% of the time. I have nothing that I care to hide 99.8% of the time. But there are times where it's like, I want to say a thing because I have freedom of speech, and I would like to not give or have that become ammo to use against me in a court of law. So I'm not going to do that. And that's what I have to quote unquote hide, right? Like a person who has nothing to hide could say, I got an abortion in the past. That might be something you kind of want to hide right now when there's a political party actively trying to equate abortion to murder and prosecute people for it. So like, it's not a matter of I have something to hide. It's a matter of how could this turn around and fuck me up? And that's what the whole privacy conversation's about. I have nothing to hide, but I don't want the government peeping constantly in my windows. Yeah, it's so annoying. It's like, okay, you've got nothing to hide. Cool. That means you've got nothing to say. It's such a stupid argument. I remember back before I had like better tools equipped to actually have that conversation with somebody. I was trying to have a conversation about privacy with a coworker of mine, a woman in software engineering, who was like being extremely flippant about privacy. And was doing the thing like the smirking and being like, well, I've got nothing to hide. And every single hypothetical I gave, she like smirked and was like, well, I wouldn't care. Well, I wouldn't care. I was like, okay, so the literal government just installs video cameras in your shower. And she's like, well, I wouldn't care. And it's like, what are you getting out of that? Like, what do people get out of being like bratty in the face of discussions about how to be safer? Or like have better right to privacy. Like, you're just advocating for invasion of privacy. What is that? Not a good faith argument? Yeah, like it's definitely not a good faith argument. But what like annoys me is that if you didn't have a good faith argument, the other option is to just be like, yeah, anyway. And move on. But instead, like trying to take a side? I don't get it. I just got my first own Meshtastic network. That's rad. Yeah, there's this thing called Meshtastic that's like a growing, open, peer-to-peer network alternative to allow for things like, if the internet was shut down, which it is currently in Iran, you'd be able to basically just like have your own internet with blackjack and hookers. Okay, I wanted to talk about some of the things that are happening because obviously, like, holy shit, like, goddamn. The elephant in the room is ICE murdered someone, right? And I posted about this on Stuff Keeps Happening, skh.news. With this very good graphic to sort of explain, to sort of summarize the situation. This graphic just sort of helps to encapsulate my feelings on the matter, sort of the specifics about what happened, and just sort of like how we can move forward from here. So that's what when I was making this graphic, I was very inspired, and that's how I came to create this particular work of art. But ICE killed someone, straight up murdered in the street. The reality is this is going to happen again. And it already kind of has. Like last night, as I'm getting ready to go to bed, I catch that there have been 2 more people shot by Border Patrol agents in Portland. And we have like very little information about what the fuck happened there. And they're already sharing around a story that the people who were shot in Portland were a Tren de Aragua, like trafficking something. And they also said that the shooting happened again at an officer who was being like driven at by a car or something. Like it's already, tensions are ridiculously high. And then that happens and they're being weird about access to the access to the information about what the fuck happened. The US government is they're tripling down on calling a dead suburban woman in her SUV a domestic terrorist, and claiming that they're trying to muster up sympathy for the officer that murdered her by claiming, first they were like, she absolutely hit him, which all video evidence shows otherwise. Then they're like, well, she kind of clipped him, and any amount of sort of driving a car near someone equates to assault with a deadly weapon, which is the weeniest fucking shit imaginable. The amount of people on the right who claim to be these hardened, burly men who then turn around and after seeing a woman shot in the face 4 times doing nothing in her SUV, they were like, well, she hit the gas and that makes it a deadly weapon, and that's how I'm going to justify it. And I'm saying this for actually real. Like I, comma, a human being, comma, am going to assert that a woman sort of driving her car near a armed agent amounts to assault with a deadly weapon. The absolute lack, talk about not being a good faith argument, right? Like, it's not a good faith argument. We know it's not a good faith argument. I cannot think of a time where we've had such a stark contrast between multiple video angles of an event happening and the line that the government is going with. Usually, they try to at least muddy the waters more. They're not even muddying the waters. They're just telling people, believe what we say, not what's in the video. Out the gate, minutes, this woman's body wasn't cold when Kristi Noem went on national television and called her a terrorist. It's the intensity with which they are trying to spin the bullshit with no regard for reality whatsoever, when we can all plainly see that reality. And like, it's to the point, like, it's so significant that we're seeing people who are not paying attention confused by this. We've seen plenty of clips of people who are like, I'm a Trump supporter, but what the fuck is this? We've already seen support for these recent surges dropping. They are pissing off suburban white women. You don't do that, especially if you're the Republicans. The Republicans can't win off of racist white men alone. They win off of a coalition of racist white men and disaffected white women who either just do what their racist white husband tells them to do, or just vote for Republicans because that's just what they've been told their whole lives. But when you piss off suburban white women, you cut into that demographic and you push them. They're already tenuously voting for you. They're not voting for you for a good reason to begin with. And they don't have the same conviction that the angry old white men who feel like they're being persecuted have, because they feel like the world is against them. White women, at least at the end of the day, despite being white women and generally not being particularly helpful to minorities, at the end of the day, they're still women, and women are still treated worse than men. And so they still have something, anything within them that can cause them to do some self-reflection and say, oh, fuck. Maybe this is bad for me too. Maybe a mother of 3 killed in her SUV. I want to drive that part home. This is a woman who could have been any random mom in the US. In her car that she drives her kids around in. And in 11 seconds, it took 11 seconds from the car to pull up to shots to being fired for no reason. And they're still trying to turn around and convince people to side with ICE and to call the dead woman a terrorist. It's fucking crazy. I posted about how this is shocking to me because of the stark contrast here. I immediately got on the internet someone coming up in my replies being like, they've always done this. Or like, oh, you just now noticed this? Like, I want to be super clear. Yes, the US government constantly lies to cover their ass. And they lie about death all the time. One of my favorite songs ever is called He Lied About Death. And it's about George W. Bush and the Iraq War. It's one of my favorite songs ever. That doesn't mean that you need to go, if someone points out an instance of it happening, especially if it is a significant escalation, that doesn't mean you need to tell them or imply that they just now realized this. Please don't do that. Please don't do that to people. Like, I'm begging you. It's so unnecessary. I heard recently that her wife was in the vehicle. Do you know if that is accurate? I don't think that's accurate. There was a really fucking bad headline that was going around saying that that her wife said that the reason that she's dead is because of her wife. As in, you know, if I was the wife, I would be saying she's dead because of me. That is a horrific thing to have to hear someone say. But she's saying that because she means like she's only in this state at all because I can convince her to be here and, you know, come out and do this stuff with me. They were monitoring ICE. Like, that's a thing you're allowed to do. You're allowed to be in the street, actually. And you're allowed to be in the street and not do what an ICE officer says. I saw a post last night that was kind of fucked me up. It was along the lines of your odds of getting due process and having your day in court are higher if you engaged the ICE officer rather than let them just fucking kill you. So Altina says, I cannot believe how many Republicans are demonizing this woman. Yeah, that's the, like, it's not a winning strategy. They're trying to do the Kilmar Abrego Garcia treatment to her, right? And that didn't work for a brown man who doesn't speak much English. Like, here's a brown man that they were like, he is illegal and we've tied him to all these crimes and so on and so forth. You know, all of it was bullshit. He is a day laborer brown man, target of all of this, right? He is the exact person that people are picturing when they're saying mass deportation now. And the entire US administration spent a calendar year slandering a single immigrant, and it didn't work. They sent him to a torture prison. They claimed they couldn't bring him back from a torture prison. And then he was brought back from the torture prison and then won relief from the government persecuting him and is now going to be able to take them to court. They're trying to do that same thing to a white suburban woman. The number of black people that I have seen on my feeds recently in shock is telling. We are used to the government pulling this shit with anyone who has any kind of minority presence, right? Not a suburban white woman. She's a lesbian, but we didn't know that until after they had already started calling her a terrorist. And so now, because this fucking administration can never admit fault about anything, the only thing they know, and this comes from the top because it's the only play that Trump has, the only thing they know is to escalate. To escalate forever until people either stop paying attention or something worse happens, and we have to focus on that now. Like, they're going to continue to escalate this, and it's why they're digging in their heels with the terrorism line. It's why JD fucking Vance, the most already unlikable dude imaginable, who's heir apparent for the Republican Party, is going on national television and telling people to not believe the video and to instead believe him and that anyone who says that the officer was in the wrong is bad. Meanwhile, any normal person who sees this video is going to be like, what the fuck? It's such a relatable video, but these people don't have a fucking soul. And so they don't realize that. They see the video and the only thing in their head is, how do we spin this? How do we tell people? How do we prime our cult so that they will do the work of yelling at people who defend a dead woman? That's what's going on in their heads, not how do we make sense of this situation and square it with reality. And so before they even took a second to think strategically about the situation they had on their hands, they immediately jumped to demonize it so that if you appear sympathetic to the situation, you are associated with bad. It's the same gameplay that they've done this entire fucking time. You know, why are you upset that the US went after Maduro? You must like dictators. You must support narco-terrorist regimes, which isn't a thing. But that's what they do, is they associate it so that if you take a side, they can have their fucking dim-witted people yell at you about that. So before they even took a second to be like, okay, what is the content of this video? How will people react to this video? They didn't think about that. And so now any normal person who comes across this video is going to see it, can see themselves as the person in that car. And then they're going to see that the government is telling them that they would have been the terrorist. And at the end of the day, what has happened here is our government has signaled to ICE agents that they can murder with impunity. And the full force of the US government will have their back. The literal president will lie about their condition, and the head of the Department of Homeland Security will call their victim a terrorist. And it does not matter how egregiously obvious it was that it was their fault. That is what has been telegraphed. So there's not much more to do in this exact moment, aside from, especially if you're in a place where there is ICE activity and there are counter protests happening and you feel as though you can be a part of that, I would recommend going to do that. I would recommend, if you don't want to be, near people who are now seemingly just okay with murdering, look up local mutual aid groups in your area. Just search mutual aid in or near, your area. Look for food banks that you can volunteer at. Look for secondhand donation stores or places that do like furnishing for low-income families. There are so many volunteer options that you can have out there that will actually make a meaningful, direct impact in the quality of another human being's life. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to improve people's lives. And you can do that any number of ways. A lot of people want to improve people's lives by way of melting the government down and building up something new. Personally, I think that that's going to take quite a long time. And I think that my time and skill set is better spent trying to help individual people and just sort of spread information and hope and views, I guess. That's how I see myself helping. It's not going to be what everybody else thinks is the most effective thing. And I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, we just need to keep moving forward. And we need to keep reminding each other that this is not normal, and this can pass, and justice can be served. We're in the thick of it right now. What's that? The KSI song? Isn't that like the KSI song or whatever? We're in the thick of it. We're all KSI on this blessed day, is what I'm trying to say. Praise. Work together. Learn to make something just in case. Learn a skill. Learn like a practical skill, not for profit, that that like does something that has output, right? Like learn to crochet, learn to knit, to be able to make things, learn woodworking, learn bushcraft. Like just a skill that does not need to produce products, but can produce things that you might need, and like tools and shit. Or just like skills that can actually help other people with their problems. If you know how to sew, yeah, can sew. Hey, perfect. I was just about to jump on that. Can sew. If you can sew, that's a huge skill. Do you know how many people are out there who have clothing that needs patching, that could use adjustments, that they want to be able to use to like a hand-me-down, like I need to be able to give this to my younger kid or whatever, but it doesn't really fit them. But if you could sew and you could hem it, you could repair, you could fix, you could increase the longevity of these garments and help to reduce the number of things that are being thrown away with the massive amount of fast fashion being purchased and thrown away all the time. And yeah, one person helping a few people patch some clothes isn't going to fix people being shot in the street. But as a reminder, those streets, unless they are your backyard, are not your backyard. Things happen all over the world all the time. And there will always be something bad happening somewhere. And there will always be something bad happening in our own country. But our country is also gargantuan, and this planet is even bigger. And so focusing on what you actually have control over, your sphere of influence, if you focus on that and you do something good in that space, that is all anyone could ever ask of you. No human being in the history of ever has been able to fix the entire world themselves. And that is because we aren't supposed to be able to. But people do make others' lives easier, leave a lasting impact, and help make the world a little bit better in their own way. And if we can consistently do that, if we can all consistently focus on keeping that in mind, using what time we have together on this planet to make life a little easier for each other, that is the way that we make meaningful, lasting change. It just takes an annoying amount of time and energy and patience. And that doesn't mean that along the way, some heated moments cannot happen. Heated moments will absolutely happen. But it's not going to be fixed by a single moment. There will not be a single protest that fixes it. There will not be a single scandal from the Trump administration that brings the whole thing crashing down. There will not be a single administration official that beefs it, that fucking dies, and it's all fixed now. There won't even be an election that, even if we replaced all of the existing Democrats with someone else, Republicans and Democrats with someone else, we would still have systemic problems that need consistent solutions. I don't believe that we are saved, really, so long as the state exists. I don't think that the state will cease existing anywhere near in my lifetime. So that's not really my focus. My focus is instead what I can do here and now. Sure, learn a craft. It's useful to have, but it won't stop Trump. Yes, that's the point. Like, it's not going to. And I'm not saying I'm in no way would it ever. But Trump is also dying and will die probably pretty soon. And it's not going to go away when he's dead. Like, we need consistent, lasting, meaningful human experiences to come back to this country, because we desperately lack it. Like, we desperately lack community and purpose beyond working. And we need to get that back. What does the state not existing even mean outside of being replaced by another state? Any number of things. Like, a lot of people talk about like balkanizing the US, which like that's a fun idea, essentially breaking the US down into smaller countries. I think if the US were to get fucked up, that would be the most likely outcome in our lifetime. I would ideally, if I could wave my magic wand, we would just give land back to the natives and this country would dissolve. But ultimately, what I'm getting at is there are any number of ways that that reality could happen, none of which I think are near necessarily. It's more a matter of anytime that I ever talk about the functions of the state and electoralism, it's not because indigenous peoples. Anytime I talk about electoralism or the way the state works or whatever, it's not because I have faith that that's going to fix things. It's because I'm just being realistic about the world that we live in and how reality works here. We don't save ourselves by electing a president that's very, very good. The best president in, or the best potential presidential candidate ever will never do more good than a modestly shitty president will do bad. And that I would hope that that's not I hope that's a self-evident statement. Like I hope that has been proven pretty much already. We don't fix this by just having a good president. And we don't fix this by voting for federal representation that says good words. That's just not going to happen. Like this gets fixed by fundamentally inverting the power structure in this country by, again, working to essentially undermine the constant need for consumerism and the constant threat of homelessness and death if you don't work, right? It's why I constantly talk about like unionize your workplace. Like if more and more places were unionized, the more places that are unionized, the better we are equipped to do a general strike. Because if we have if we are flushed with unions, we only need so many to be able to do a general strike. So the more we have, the more options we have to get a few on board, right? Today, if the longshoremen and the Teamsters, they wouldn't do this. They have no reason to do this. But if the longshoremen and the Teamsters today arbitrarily just decided we're all going on strike indefinitely until everyone in this administration resigns, they would win. They could do that, but they're not going to because they don't really have a reason to. So let's get more people who are looking to have a reason to do that in places that have actual unions. If you want to prevent another Trump, you need to pay attention to your local elections first. Absolutely. Yeah, like local elections are one, the best example of why people who say that like voting is useless are to be ignored, because you can make direct impacts to local policy very easily with local elections. We're talking about like elections with votes on the orders of hundreds. Your vote very much does matter. One example that I frequently give, and this is a very minimal example. This is not going to fix the world, but like I was paying money for a curbside composting service for a while, and then somebody local to me in my municipality ran for city council on essentially a platform of we want to have municipal compost collection. And he won and implemented it, and it was wildly popular, and they rolled it out, and now we have municipal compost collection that they then turn into mulch that anyone in the community is allowed to have for free. Like the town takes everybody's compost, turns it into mulch, and then dumps it into a giant pile somewhere and just say have at. And so then all throughout the end of the summer and most of fall, or sorry, most of spring and end of summer, You can just go take a shovel and get free mulch as much as you want. And like that's it. Like we now have a fully working, helpful addition to our community that is both like contributed to by the community and then benefiting people. That would not have happened if the other person got elected. The person who wanted to do composting got elected. The person who was against the person who wanted to do composting was essentially running on a platform of being a concerned Christian mom who has concerns about the kids and wants to make some changes around here about that. So the options were like, make everything better, or, oh God, what do you mean by that? Look at Zoran. He's doing decent work so far. I cannot get over the stark contrast, right? In one fucking week, the same week, right? We get Zoran Mamdani. We get Zoran Mamdani, who gets sworn into office, and immediately there's video of him going into like low-income renters' apartments and inspecting like mold and broken tiles and things that landlords are legally obligated to take care of and aren't. And so like he's day one with normal people, investigating their problems, making them seen and heard, and enacting change about that. The federal government invaded a foreign country with no real plan to grab their leader and claim that we now control them, and then turned around and a few days later said that we all need to feel bad for the ICE officer who just murdered a woman in her car, while also threatening to take over Greenland, either by military force or more recently by apparently offering, they're considering offering like $100,000 to every citizen of Greenland to support seceding and joining America. But all of this because Donald Trump is a sundowning madman who wants to put his name on stuff. And so he wants a state with his name on it, which is why he's so desperately trying to find a place that he can bring into the United States. It's why he was going after Canada and why he was going after Greenland. It's why he was like, we're going to run Venezuela now. We're going to go after Cuba next, and we're going to do all this other stuff. He wants to conquer one of these so he can call it Trumpland or some shit. He already tried to do it with Gaza. He literally tried to do it with Gaza. There were those proposals about like having a Trump venture rebuild Gaza. That's all that he wants to do. So we've got Mamdani over here, like taking landlords out, highlighting the problems of the people, and talking about how he's hopeful to actually make good on the promises that he made, and that he wants the people to hold him accountable for doing so. And then we've got Stephen Miller breathing still. The man's still breathing at all, which is problematic. We got Kristi Noem playing dress up, paying herself a ton of money, and calling people terrorists for driving their car. We've got the fucking wannabe like miniature Nazi guy who's like running around with all the ICE agents, you know, wherever. So it's just like, it's such a stark fucking contrast. It's pretty wild. Hey, how's Flynn? That's a good question. Let's find out. Hmm. It looks like there's some beef happening in YouTube chat. I would request that beef doesn't happen. Otherwise, I'm gonna mute people. So no beefing, please. Nobody in this chat is doing anything that's going to be directly stopping Trump from doing what he's currently doing, because there's only exactly one thing that will stop Trump from doing what he's currently doing. Beef. And that thing is bullet shaped. So getting into arguments about who is doing what, who's doing more, or how things are being done is a waste. We're on the same fucking side. It does not matter. We're all trying. Stratton says I already muted the person who was laying into me. I mean, the person who was laying into you is a very long time member of this community. Beef. So I am inclined to, I haven't been following what's going on, but from what I've seen, it seemed like you were the aggressor. I would ask to just, if y'all could just peace out from each other. There's always heart attacks and strokes. He's old. He's very, very old, and he's hopefully going to die soon. But like, at the end of the day, we are like, we're not able to stop this through normal channels, right? Like the God fucking, I got someone yesterday who tried to do the whole like, I know this is a hard concept for you to understand, but when I suggested essentially that, like, you know, the Judiciary Dems posted some shit online about how Kristi Noem is, in contempt of Congress because she still hasn't testified in front of Congress for all this, and how that's just not acceptable. And it's like, stop talking about what's not acceptable and fucking drag her ass into the congressional building and force her to testify. Don't constantly go on the internet and tell us that the administration is doing unconstitutional shit. We figured that out when they shot a woman in the face. Stop being like, oh, you know, she's really breaking the law over here. Fucking do something. That's why people are saying do something. They're not saying pass some legislation. Chuck Schumer is making a big fucking deal about how they passed a resolution to move forward on having a discussion to go towards a final vote for a bill that would request for the White House to actually respect that they have to go through Congress for war. And he's like, this is a big deal. This sends a message. You cannot defeat a rock with paper when that rock doesn't fucking read. I need Chuck Schumer to internalize that. It's not working. So when people are saying do something, they're not saying write a strongly worded letter. They're saying don't make this our fucking problem, because what Chuck Schumer, comma, an elected official with proximity to the president, comma, is doing is turning around and being like, I tried, y'all, but they're just breaking the law and my hands are tied. Okay, so all you're signaling to us is that the normal mechanisms don't have the power to do anything, and you are unwilling to go further than that. And so it either falls to us or we have to fucking deal with it. Either way, not a particularly good position to be in for leadership. Not a great stance to have. Have you not seen the photos of Schumer in the Oval Office laughing with Trump? I mean, like, yeah, there's photos of every politician laughing with every politician. Like, I'm not so naive as to think that Chuck Schumer is actually fighting for the will of the people. Like, that's, of course I don't think that. The issue is, like, we have people who do want to do that. And Chuck Schumer is standing in their fucking way while constantly acting like there's nothing that can be done. constantly acting like, you know, oh, well, we can't do XYZ because, like, that's unconstitutional. The Constitution isn't a factor here. This administration doesn't care. The United States Supreme Court is poised to overturn birthright citizenship, which is just a line in the Constitution. So, like, I don't know why anyone thinks that, like, adhering to constitutional avenues is the right way to go about things. But I argued, like, hey, do something. You've got hands, don't you? And so I get this person replies to me and is like, I know this is hard for you to understand, but they're the minority party. They don't have any power. And it's like, good God. Oh my Lord. First of all, I went to go block the person because immediately shut the fuck up, and their profile said that they were 22 years old. And while 22 is perfectly understandable to have political opinions and shit, if you're gonna be 22 and you're gonna make an assertion about the state of politics in 2026 right now, no. no don't tell me what is the right way to go about things, how things work. Don't tell me that I don't understand how things work. The problem is that I was trying to put good faith into things working the right way for the first half of my life. And the second half of my life, I've watched as that's not how it works. And I've watched as politicians tell me that I cannot ask more from them. But while they're telling me that, Mitch McConnell turned around, and while he was the minority party leader, he fucked this country up. When the Republicans are in the minority, they ruin things. They destroy. They absolutely annihilate policy every single step of the way. Now, a lot of it is because the Democrats are all too fine with it. Like the whole Obamacare situation. Democrats wanted to push through Obamacare. Republicans made a huge fucking stink about it, gutted Obamacare from the start, and then spent the next decade trying to make it go away. But they weren't the majority party. And they fucked it up hard. Imagine if the Democrats actually did something to stop the big beautiful bill instead of shutting down the government and then getting nothing. They don't do anything, right? But they extra don't do anything when they're in power, and then when they're not in power, they're just like, well, what do you want us to do? What could we have done? I don't know. Maybe resign. Because you've already failed, right? That's the other side of it, is like fucking resign. You've failed. And by continuing to stay there, all you're really doing is asserting failure is the mode, which is accurate. But at least let someone do something. You know, again, I don't think that we get fixed by having a very good replacement for Chuck Schumer. But I think a replacement for Chuck Schumer could at least do something. But again, he doesn't actually want this to go away. Like, the Democrats don't want to change what's happening right now. Maybe the ICE stuff to some degree. Like, they wouldn't have funded ICE to the degree that the Trump administration has. They wouldn't have Kristi Noem going on TV and calling a white woman in an SUV a domestic terrorist. They love that we're in Venezuela now. That's a big one for them. The Democrats are very excited about the fact that we're in Venezuela, and they're very happy that Trump did it and took the flack for it. But now that we're there, it's gonna be too messy to leave. We might as well get that oil. You know? We're already there. If we left now, but you know, we're the compassionate ones, you know. And if we just left right now, things would be unstable. So I know that we just voted in the next Democrat, but we're going to stay there for a little while, right? To resign is to admit that you failed. I think that's why Biden held out for so long. Biden said he wasn't going to run again. He said with his fleshy mouth that he was not going to run for a second term. And then he ran for a second term. Anyway. My bean is all messed up now. Gulf of Trump. I just wanted to ask. I wanted to ask Schumer and other inactive Dems, what's the point of you? What would you say you do here? Yeah, it's mostly just like, what are you even doing here? And like, I'm not a Democrat, and I don't have faith that the Democrats are going to do anything. I don't really have faith that, like, even if like a very outwardly progressive candidate sweeps the next election, that we'll see what needs to be done, right? What needs to be done is this administration needs to be prosecuted at every single level and held accountable for like crimes against humanity. I don't know that there exists a person who has the will to see that through, who also wants to be president right now. I don't think that person exists. At least a viable candidate with those qualities exists. We don't want Venezuela's oil. We want their gold, rare earth minerals from the Amazon. I mean, we can want multiple things. Like, yes, obviously the rare earth minerals are more directly valuable and easier to extract because they're decaying oil infrastructure and shit. But having essentially a vassal state that sits atop a big field of oil, and also more importantly, denying said oil from perceived competitors, still important to them. I will never understand being in a leadership position and wanting to see your people suffer. It's because they're sociopaths and you're not. It's because you're not a sociopath and they are. Think about these people, like who they are, right? Really think about them. JD Vance, previously referred to Donald Trump as America's Hitler, now is the vice president and spends all of his time talking up how amazing Trump is and defending Trump. Chrissy Noem shot a puppy, wrote a book about it. They excitedly vote her into the head of DHS. Stephen Miller, a straight up Nazi, a straight up Jewish Nazi existing, right? Donald Trump, a lifelong con man who the entire fucking like world of people with brains knew that he was a con man this whole time, already didn't like him. The entire city of New York fucking hates him because of who he is. Long storied history of bankrupting casinos, not paying workers, screwing people over, being extremely racist, taking out that ad to try to go against the Central Park 6. All of that. Like, we know who he is, right? And the only reason he wanted to be president the first time was because he was mad that Obama dunked on him, and also he wanted to be on TV a lot. And the second time, to stay out of jail. It's not about anyone else, and it never will be, and it never has been. They don't care. It's not about running a country. It's about having that power and being right. And as long as they have a cult that says, well, anything that he does say is truth, and so he's right, he's going to keep doing it. He's found his perfect setup, right? A turnkey operation where he gets to just say, this is reality. And people say, yes, sir, that is reality. Thank you. And he gets to just do that forever until he dies now. That's what he's going for. That's it. All I'm asking is, what is the purpose of impeachment if it doesn't actually do anything? I mean, like, the issue is impeachment and conviction, right? Impeachment is essentially an indictment, right? Like, it's the effective equivalent of an indictment. He was impeached. Yeah, but he was never removed. Like you can be impeached but not removed. And if doing so, it's like being charged with a crime and found not guilty. Obviously, it's like more complex than that. It's more gray than that. But functionally, That's the reason why. Like why does impeachment exist if it doesn't get rid of you? It's because impeachment is one half of the equation. It's a cult of personality. It's gonna be crazy when he goes. Yeah, so Trump dying is not gonna fix things, right? Like Trump dying is not gonna fix our nation. It's gonna fix my mood for the day. I'll tell you that much. But it's not gonna fix our problems. It will create a power vacuum that is going to be very interesting to watch. I don't think that Trump dying is going to fix everything. I do think that Trump dying is going to be a death blow to MAGA. I think MAGA will be on life support. It's already basically on life support, but I think him dying, there's no charisma to be found anywhere within a mile radius of JD Vance. He is a vacuum. He is a black hole of charisma. Just being near him makes you an unlikable person. Him coming to your town, I'm sorry, by pure proximity, you are shittier now. And that's not your fault. And once he leaves, you'll be back to your wonderful, beautiful self. But it's like he has an aura that just like, it's like a necrotic aura of charisma. And it just destroys everything it touches. People aren't going to like him. I'm seeing conservatives in conservative spaces trying to say that they like Vance. They try to be like, oh, he's going to be so great as the next president. And it's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe most of what conservatives post online, right? Like, I think that they're all like, posting shit in bad faith because like no reasonable person would hold these views. That's how I stay sane is that line of thinking. But I draw the line at pretending that JD Vance is an entertaining person to watch in any regard. Not even like to watch him like a train wreck. I don't even want to watch him fail at being charismatic. I just don't want to see him ever. He's never going to have the same, like, accidental ability to be culturally relevant that Trump does, right? It's all computer. Objectively funny. Everything's computer. Objectively funny. It sucks that it came from a horrific fascist, but horrific dumpy ass fascist getting into a test trying to reverse the cratering sales of his Nazi friend's car company and getting into the Tesla and being amazed by it and going, everything's computer. JD Vance will never have anything like that. And like the other person that I'm seeing is like, they're trying to say like, oh, Marco Rubio will be a good next one. Like, Marco Rubio? Little Marco? He was torched by Trump during the 2016 election. The first time around, ruined. He hit him with that little Marco nickname. Done. It's over. Pack it up. Shrek'd. It's all ogre now. There's just no one to take the place. Stephen Miller, he's really, really popular with the worst of the people who are supporting this administration. Stephen Miller is very, very popular with the people who are excitedly endorsing the idea of actually like truly having publicly visible concentration camps. Like there are people who want to see tortured immigrants, and those are the people who are excited about Stephen Miller. There's no way that they can make him the core face of this administration. He's too unsettling. He's too aggressive. They'll never do it. So like I don't see how they survive Trump dying. I see the systems in place surviving for quite a while. I don't see the constant deference, the deification maintaining. They'll try to deify him for a while. They'll try like what's it called when you get turned into a prophet? Canonized? They're gonna try to canonize him, right? But that's not as interesting as when the funny man says everything's computer. And they're going to fucking lose interest. And like, there's not going to be a guy that's saying, I'm going to make your life better as long as you continue being racist anymore. So I do see them trying to put together a Vance Miller ticket. I don't see Miller anywhere on the ticket. I think Vance, Rubio could be a thing. Maybe Vance Ramaswamy, although Ramaswamy is basically been run out of town by Republicans for being brown. Could have been Kirk if it wasn't for the whole his neck leaked a little too much. So yeah, could be really anything. They're probably gonna try to put who's what's her name? Who's the shitty one? God, what's her name? Director of Intelligence. She has that streak of white hair. She's from Hawaii, used to be a Republican, or used to be Democrat, was always a Republican, basically. Now is just straight up Russian asset Republican. I could look up her name, but instead I'm just gonna keep describing it. Secretary of Intelligence, U.S. Tulsi Gabbard. That's the person. Tulsi Gabbard. I could see Tulsi Gabbard as VP being a thing, because she's attractive and is like full on right wing conspiracy at this point. But they're not going to let her be the front runner because woman. But like, yeah. Vance Kirk and then the monarchy comes. What if they did run Vance Kirk? Wait. What if that's what they did though? What if they still went with that? But they did like AI hologram Kirk. Holy shit. Like the Tupac hologram, right? Like what if it's JD Vance is the presidential ticket, and for vice president, when they make a big deal leading up to the announcement, and they do the announcement, and here comes a reanimated AI bot of Charlie Kirk as his VP. They would do it too. They would 100% do that shit. Oh my God. I didn't mean to will that into existence, and now that is probably going to happen, and I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, everyone. I take it back. Anyway, I didn't get to all my topics, but I do need to get going here. So I guess I'll save some of these topics for Monday's Stuff Keeps Happening, but I'm going to be talking probably a lot on Stuff Keeps Happening on Monday about the situation on Twitter with Grok, with all the deep fake porn that people are generating on Twitter, and then also, updates on what's going on with ICE, and ways that people can try to like help out and stuff like that. So I do want to try to get something besides the obvious like gargantuan stories like the situation in Venezuela and then also people being shot by ICE, hoping to talk about some other stuff. We'll see what I can find. Gonna try to pack in some good shit in there too. Let's give the dog one last hug before we go. Oh my goodness. Oh, stretch. All right. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. As always, I stream on Wednesdays and Fridays at 11 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. If you haven't yet, if you're on YouTube, I really appreciate liking the stream. That helps this go a little further, helps other people see it. Sharing this with your friends if you think that they would also enjoy being here or enjoy my content. That's one of the best ways to actually help me out, is to just word of mouth help share my stuff. Thanks for being here. I'll see y'all on Monday when the new Stuff Keeps Happening, like an actual Stuff Keeps Happening. And then I'll be back on stream on Wednesday. I also, hopefully, will be making at least one, if not two, fairly significant announcements next week. I was rushing yesterday to try to be ready to make an announcement today. Didn't quite get there. So I'm going to take the weekend instead, and hopefully have something ready for y'all next week. So we shall see. In the meantime, take care. Be well. I'll see y'all on Monday. And go for a walk today. Like, go for a quiet walk today. Okay, bye.